Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today, we're talking about my favorite game ever, Dark Souls, the original Dark Souls. I know we've previously done a video on Dark Souls 3 PvP, and I definitely enjoyed making that video. I enjoyed revisiting those old moments. As I mentioned in that video, all of that footage was taken over the years in little 30-second clips of PvP bouts in Dark Souls 3 on the Xbox One. Today, we're going to look at the original Dark Souls. Now, all the gameplay footage is freshly recorded for this one through Dark Souls Remastered on Steam on my computer. So we should be able to just dive right in. Now, for the gameplay, you can actually, if you don't want to listen to me, you could mute me and actually use this video as a fairly solid tutorial on just where to find everything if you don't know in the very beginning of the game. All the things you can get your hands on right away. There's some goodies around right when you get out of the Undead Asylum, definitely. And by all means, if my little romp around helps people, then cool, that's awesome. Because I feel like there's probably still some people who still struggle with this game, and I'm sure there's still people who haven't even started playing this game yet, but want to. And I encourage anyone who's in that latter boat to make the plunge and give it a shot. Unfortunately, you won't be able to get the Prepare to Die edition on Steam anymore, but the remaster is the superior version. Now, I don't have a lot of hours clocked on the remaster on Steam. I have most of my hours for Dark Souls were clocked in the Prepare to Die edition. I've played through both this and Dark Souls 3 countless times on multiple platforms. I've played it on Steam. I've played the first Dark Souls on PlayStation 3, on Xbox 360. I've played the remaster, now officially here on Steam, as well as on Xbox One. I adore the series. I adore the franchise. I adore From Software. They are, in my opinion, the best modern game dev for what I want. Now, I'm not forgetting about CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk 2077 or Witcher 3. I'm looking forward to Cyberpunk, but Dark Souls is my favorite game. Plus, From Software has Armored Core, they have Sekiro, they have Bloodborne. Those are all awesome, plus Elden Ring coming, whatever that's going to be. I'm looking forward to that. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on with From Software now and in the future. But let's talk about Dark Souls. Let's get into that. We've been rambling for like 3.5 minutes or some shit, and we haven't even talked about damn Dark Souls, really. Like, what is it about this game? What is it that made this game what it is? Well, it's really simple. It's really, really actually very simple, honestly. Shockingly simple. It's hard. This game is fucking hard. And it's not hard for the sake of being hard. Like, if any of you guys can go back in time in your memory to a time where you may have played a game called King's Field, that was hard for the sake of being hard. That was just an unmitigated ass whooping, start to finish. It was good, but it was an unmitigated ass whooping start to finish. The game was brutal. Dark Souls is actually related to that game. So, Dark Souls is the spiritual successor to Demon's Souls, which was a PS3 exclusive and also a fantastic game. And Demon's Souls is a more modern, spiritual successor to the Kingsfield series. So, yeah, From Software has just been kicking our ass since the 90s. That's just all that is. But anyway, so Dark Souls is difficult. It's difficult not for the sake of being difficult, but it's difficult tactfully. You're facing difficult odds and difficult enemies, and the game isn't really holding your hand. You can't really play it with a mouse and keyboard. The button mappings are garbage. Plug in an Xbox controller and just play it with that. Trust me. Play it on the controller. This game sucks on the keyboard. The button mappings are terrible. At least if you're playing the remaster, at least if you are playing with the mouse and keyboard, the little tutorials and stuff and tooltips that pop up will actually give you the key you need to press. On the Prepare to Die edition, it was notorious for you playing with a mouse and keyboard, and it'll show Xbox buttons for interactions and stuff. So you're still like, all right, well, how do I open this door? I don't know how to open the. I have to open this door. How the hell do I open this door? So, you know, mouse and keyboard button mappings, not great. I don't know if they're any better on the remaster. I'm not even going to chance it. I'm sticking with the controller. The controller is where I'm comfortable for this particular franchise of games. But one of the things I think that also draws people in to Dark Souls is the grand scaling of the boss fights and the genuine, deep-seated, and pure sense of accomplishment when that boss kicks the living shit out of you 2 or 3 times and then you come back and beat the hell out of him. When you finally beat that boss that has kicked your ass, or clear that area, finally make it through that section that you just couldn't make it through. You stop for a second, on your first playthrough, when you figure something out, when you finally finish something, when you finally kill a certain boss that has been giving you a hard time, you can stop for a second and be like, I fucking did it, man. Hell yeah, I did that. You know, it has a real, genuine sense of accomplishment that a lot of games don't have. A lot of games now are starting to reintroduce these kind of things, these challenges, these genuinely satisfying difficulties to overcome. And I think that Dark Souls has had a huge hand in that because it's a huge part of its success. It also has the way that the multiplayer is integrated, in the sense that after you're done with your tutorial and out of your hub area and going through the game, if you have, in the case of this first Dark Souls, if you have your humanity restored from the bonfire by using a humanity and offering it to the bonfire, you can summon friendly phantoms to assist you in boss fights and clearing the areas and stuff. You can engage in some jolly cooperation, you know? And then, at the same time, bad guy players can invade your world and initiate invasion PvP. All the PvP I showed off in the Dark Souls 3 PvP video that I did was, for the most part, sanctioned fight clubs and arenas and stuff. I think I might have put in a couple clips here and there of invasions, but not a lot. Most of that was sanctioned PvP. But there's also the invasion PvP. So PvP goes 2 ways. There's voluntary, sanctioned, competitive PvP, and then there's invasions. Invasions are a totally different thing. Well, we might, if we can find enough people, an active fight club or something, to get enough footage of PvP, we'll do a video just about that. But we're here to talk about the primary game. So, story mode. What are you doing for the story? You are the chosen undead. You were chosen by this random dude who's affectionately known in the community as Oscar, who he gives you your Estus flask and your mission. He tells you a little story and sends you on your way. He's like, look, I'm about to die. Can you do this? And you're like, alright. Yeah, I think I can do that. Little do you know it's about the hardest shit you're going to do, but that's fine. And then you make your way to Lordran, and your whole point, the whole purpose of your journey, is to link the first flame at the end of it all. You ring the bells of awakening and make your way to the first fire and kindle it. There are 2 endings to this game. A light ending and a dark ending. I'm not going to say a good or a bad ending. Just a light ending or a dark ending. Whichever one is canon is whichever one you decide is canon. Since Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 aren't a linear story from each other. So one ending or the other, whichever one you prefer, can be your personal canon ending, which I think is cool. So the storytelling is very light as far as being outright told the damn story. You'll pick up on a lot of your storytelling and a lot of your lore reading items, in reading item descriptions, and just seeing it and experiencing it. You're seeing the world around you, you know, and then you'll read these item descriptions that are going to point out this or that about this area, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. Now, I will admit, there's some boss fights that are a little disappointing in this game. I'm not going to even pretend there ain't. I'm looking at you, Beta Chaos. What the hell?
I have to await
They're like
my
the
companions
most
here.
difficult boss to
So
reach,
what
and then
if
the
I
easiest
choose
boss to
the
kill.
miracles? Would
If
that
you haven't
please
played through the game and gotten to the bed of chaos,
Very well.
you'll get it when you get there.
Then first,
But if you have fought the bed of chaos and won, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Man, what the hell was that? So that was, bad. That was bad boss design. But then you've got some of the most memorable boss fights I think anyone has. Like people still to this day not only talk about their struggles with, but still struggle with fighting Ornstein and Smough, however you pronounce his name. Those two are a pain in the ass. It's a fantastic boss fight. They're so good. I usually partner up with good old Solaire. We'll talk about him a little bit in a second. But I usually partner up with Solaire and I go to town on it. And, it'll usually take me a couple tries. Not only is it a difficult area just in general, I'm looking at you, gigantic fucking archer standing on a ledge in the probably most inconvenient location out of any archer in the entire franchise. Man, this game is relentless. There's even, like, DLC not included. There's even a totally optional area that once you enter it, you can't leave it, called the Painted World of Ariamis. And to get there, you have to get an item that requires returning to the Undead Asylum, because you can go back to the tutorial area. And yeah, all of this stuff is linked in some way. The level design, the map design is amazing. There are shortcuts everywhere. The world building and world design of this game is the strongest in the series. It is way better than Dark Souls 2 and a lot better than Dark Souls 3. I think in the sense of building a cohesive world map that you can traverse effectively and find shortcuts through and learn, I think that Dark Souls 2 probably, in my opinion, was the weakest entry. But I'm sure there's people who disagree with me and would say Dark Souls 3 was. But yeah. There's also a few NPCs, not a lot of them. Not all of them are necessarily your friends. And a few of them have their own little quest lines, their own little series of events that you can take along with them and kind of learn about them. This is the other aspect of the storytelling, is the storytelling through the NPCs and their stories, because they're all on their own personal journeys with their own personal agendas. Solaire probably being the most memorable NPC in not just this game, but Dark Souls in general. Solaire has become like the poster boy of cooperative online gameplay. He is the most grossly incandescent face of jolly cooperation. And he's been memed to death. He's had videos made about him that are weird and funny and all kinds of stuff. Solaire is a phenomenal character, and he's got a very good personal story in this game, like most of these characters do. So there's that. Man, I could just keep on going. But honestly, this video's running around a little bit long. No, fuck it. We're gonna keep going a little bit. I think I got a few more minutes of gameplay here. But there's also Covenants. The Covenants. You've got the Warriors of Sunlight and the Blades of the Dark Moon that focus on cooperative play. The Warriors of Sunlight being golden summons instead of white phantom summons. They benefit off of clearing the boss area with the player, while the Blades of the Dark Moon are PvP cooperative focused players who will enter into the world of somebody who is in the Covenant of the Way of the White, who's being invaded nearby, and their job is to protect this player. They are the counter invader. They will invade the player's world in order to kill the person who's invading the player's world. Then you have the Covenant of the Gravelord's servants, which didn't function properly in the old Dark Souls, but in the remaster it does, but it only functions properly in New Game Plus and beyond. And what it does, what it functions as is you place down a Gravelord sign, and that summons a bunch of tough enemies into someone's world, into a couple of people's worlds at random, and also places down this Gravelord sign. And if they find it, they can invade you. And if they invade you, they can obviously fight you and try and kill you. And then you've got the Dark Wraiths. They're your straight up invaders. They don't need to use the broken red eye orbs to invade. They get a full, complete red eye orb with unlimited uses. It's not a consumable. And they can just invade the hell out of whoever they want to. So, yeah. There's other covenants, but they don't really do a whole lot. I know there's like the Forest Keepers Covenant. They invade people who are traveling through the forest. They're protecting the forest, which is pretty cool. Every covenant has rewards, level ups, rank ups, etc., etc., etc. There's just so much to do in this game. So many layers. It's like an ogre. It has layers. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. This video is getting a little bit long. Thank you guys for joining along with this one. I was super excited for it. But I'm signing out now, and I will fucking see you later.